Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got the NBA Cup as it rolls along on a Tuesday here in the NBA. We're going to be taking a look at best bets in this episode. Also got play of props up in the other one. We got a full week of NFL as well this week with 3 games in the on Thursday there. We'll be going through each of those as well. So definitely make sure to follow along and subscribe to that page. Don't miss any of the stuff we're bringing you moving forward. Also, quick reminder that we do have the partnership right now with a great deal for you for BetMGM. For anyone that does not yet have an account with the sportsbook, go ahead and sign up using the code THELINESYT50. Get yourself up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not cash. Plus, you get $50 in bonus bets regardless. So it's a really nice deal there for you guys if you are still without, I should say, a BetMGM account. But Nate, let's go ahead and roll right into your first play here for the NBA Cup on Tuesday.
Yeah, Spurs minus 2.5 here at Utah. Already the 4th meeting between these teams this season. But the Spurs, I think, are in a better place. Won 3 straight, got Wemby back on Saturday, won 2 of those games against the Warriors and the Thunder. Very impressive. They did lose this last one against the Jazz, but they had the edge in paint points without Wemby, and then did a pretty good job down low against the Warriors. And I mean, the second matchup, they lost the paint points by 20 to the Jazz with Wemby, and that was kind of the critique on him early in the season, right? Is like, you're not doing enough down low. You stop taking threes, get in there. He was dominant in the first matchup. This was on a back-to-back for the Spurs. He was plus 43. It was that huge game, right? Him and CP3 both just roasting this Jazz defense in pick and roll. They beat the Jazz without him in the third matchup. I'm just going through it all here. 46 free throw attempts in that game, 32 assists, and they beat them despite shooting 9 for 28 from 3. So basically the cap is like, I trust the Spurs to be a more physical team at this point than they were in some of these other matchups. I trust them to be far more cohesive defensively, right? Now that we got Devin Vassell ruled out, that's great, because now we get the Steph Castle Champagne combination just hounding these Jazz guards. Jazz not going to have Jordan Clarkson off the bench. The Spurs should be able to protect the paint with Wemby back in there. They get back in transition, and the Jazz don't really get out. They're bottom 5 in transition efficiency. So you got to try to score in the half court against a Spurs team that limits free throws, that limits points down the stretch, second fewest in the fourth in these last 5 here. And on the other end, they take care of the ball, right? I mean, it's a Chris Paul team. You got Harrison Barnes playing very well now in that kind of tertiary playmaking role. They're number 1 in assist rate in these last 5, 8th lowest turnover, and the Jazz give up the second highest assist to turnover ratio. Spurs as favorites, 4-1 straight up this year. Would be 4-1 against the spread, but lost one by a hook there. I mean, still won the game by 9. So with the small spread, I like the Spurs here just as the more cohesive team.
Yeah, it makes sense. The Spurs look pretty good, especially in these matchups with teams that are just playing bad right now. And I mean, Utah, we'll see what happens. They do have Walker Kessler back. That seems to unlock a little bit more of Lauri Markkanen as well, to be honest. He's been a bit better when he's not the sort of, I guess, true power forward and able to play a bit more out on the wing and then take advantage of matchups where he's bigger than that guy or faster than the guy that's guarding him. So I do like them to be able to handle that stuff tonight in terms of like limiting the down low stuff because they have Wemby back. It's really that simple. Like, I think he'll be able to limit what Walker Kessler does as well. And so, yeah, the Spurs here are a good look in a game that I think they'll care about. But I'm going to go to that Rockets and Timberwolves game and just kind of talk about how bad the Timberwolves are right now. The Rockets are also somehow quietly really good, man. Really, really good. They're 3.5 point dogs. I think it's actually even rising up to about 4.5. And that's partly because of the Jalen Green news. And I love that. Honestly, this is a great, I guess we'll call it stars out bets up, or at least leading usage player out bets up maybe for the Rockets, because I do support them. And Jalen Green hasn't been that impressive overall, especially efficiency-wise and his impact on the game. If you look at his on-off numbers, 7th on Houston when he's on the court in individual net rating. So he's not bringing much. He's not improving their offense, and he's certainly not improving their defense. But their defense is incredible. So his 105 individual defensive rating looks awesome, but it's not as good as other guys on the floor who are up with about a 102 defensive rating. Other starters, not even just like backups coming in for smaller minutes. So I'm not saying he doesn't matter. I know he's a great shooter. I know he can beat a lot of guys off the dribble, a great athlete, and all that. I just also know that the cohesiveness of this team seems a little bit better when he's not on the floor demanding shots in that sense. So I'm not worried about him, and I like the zag on him being out, still backing this team as that spread rises. You look at the Wolves right now, and I mean, it starts with what is up with their down low defense. It has been awful. They're bottom 11, we'll call it, in terms of limiting points inside 5 feet. Everything going to the rim for them is not good on defense. I don't know how to understand it, but they are giving up the high in the last 5 specifically, as they've been hemorrhaging wins. Basically, they're dead last in rim field goal percentage on defense. So other teams are just finishing right around there at about 76%. This is a team with Rudy Gobert, 4-time defensive player of the year, whatever he is. Like, it's crazy to watch that, to be honest. And obviously Cat not being out there has nothing to do with it because he's not there anymore. And this is a team in the Rockets that has been attacking the rim as well. They will be aggressive. And part of that was definitely Jalen Green. But I mean, you just have a slew of athletic power forwards and small forwards with Jabari and Tari and Amin. You just got dudes jumping out the gym from, top down all the way to the end of the bench. I think it's going to continue to be a problem. I mean, Julius Randle plays below the rim, especially these days, much more so than we might remember him on the Lakers. So yeah, there's not much in the way of defense at this point, down low specifically. Nas also with a pretty bad individual defensive rating coming off the bench, not helping out that interior defense. So I think that's a big part of this. More than anything, you get them on a pretty good rest advantage here too. So I think there's a lot to like about a team that is currently 11-2 straight up, other than their last 2 losses. They had a couple bad losses, but not even bad. I mean, against Milwaukee, right, they covered and lost by 1 point on the road and actually were in control of that game for a bit until they came back. So, yeah, I really love the look of this team, and I just think their defense is going to be just as good without Jalen Green, so I'm really not worried if he plays or not.
Yeah, 11-2, not playing on a back-to-back is that stat in their last 13, and those losses are to OKC and Golden State, so no shakes there. The Rockets, all this talk about Jalen Green, like, I definitely don't wouldn't take an over without him because like their offense could kind of struggle. But when you put Tari and Amin Thompson out there at the same time, like it is just terrorizing the other team. And if Mike Conley's out, I would definitely like double the unit on this for the Rockets, maybe take more money line because the Wolves, they just cannot figure it out on offense. And without Mike Conley, they really cannot. They 108 offensive rating the last 3 without him. That's not going to get it done here against one of the most disciplined, feisty teams that I really think wants the cup. They're one of those young teams, and they are in control of this group right now. But let me go to Phoenix. I don't think the Suns really have much of a shot at their group, but this is probably more important. They snapped the 5-game skid. So Suns minus 2.5, hosting the Lakers here with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal coming back after 5 days of rest. I don't think you'll find a bigger normal rest spot here on an NBA schedule. They've probably been ramping up in practice, so I don't think they'll face too many restrictions here. We just haven't seen them in game action in a while. And look, the Lakers, they might struggle if it was just Devin Booker out there because their perimeter defense is so terrible. They definitely can't defend all 3 of these dudes. They definitely can't. With Dalton Connect now playing 33 minutes a game in the last 6, he has a 123 defensive rating. Yeah, you put him and D'Lo out there at the same time, it's barbecue chicken. And I mean, Phoenix, I mean, they're 5-0 though at home this season when they have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has done a pretty good job neutralizing or getting the better of LeBron James in their last 4 meetings. LeBron, 17 points, negative 36 plus minus. AD might eat here, but the Suns were quick to pull Nurkic when AD started roasting him in the last matchup, and Mason Plumlee, much better job there, just concentrating on defense. 0 points and like 18 rebounds is a stat line to expect from him. The Suns, with the rest advantage since last season, 18-6 straight up. They're 28-14 straight up as home favorites. Huge rest advantage here. And there's the Lakers, they've shown these lulls now under JJ Redick, right? Open 3 straight, lose 4 straight or so. They're now 1-4 against the spread after a loss. -10 margin of defeat. And since last season, putting some on just the team, not the coach, but 7-15 against the spread when they have extra rest, which they have 2 days rest here, not the same as the Suns. But yeah, I think they big whoop. They're going for the cup again. They beat the Spurs and the Jazz, but they get OKC next Friday. I don't think that they're like totally going to have the same mojo that they did that got them to the NBA Cup last season. But regardless, like it's a desperate Suns team that really needs back on track and should be fired up to have their guys back.
To be honest, I got nothing for you. I got no opinion on this one. I like everything you're saying, and I hope that that the Suns are still coming to play. I think part of what helps you is the choppiness, almost of Rui coming back into the lineup, and this rotation still being a little bit odd. I think that might be contributing to some of the lulls that you're talking about with the Lakers. I don't have the data points in front of me, but I bet there's some correlation to, oh, now Cam Reddish is in the starting lineup. Oh, well, now Rui Hachimura is gone, and now we're losing D'Lo over here, and we're putting Austin Reeves in this position, and they're still figuring it out, and that's for damn sure. And so that's only going to continue as Rui comes back, and now they have the added benefit of having Dalton Connect out there. But obviously we saw his numbers dwindle with Rui back, his numbers, his minutes and everything down. So it's a little bit different now. And they still have to refigure it out like each time that these rotational changes happen. So I don't think it's a better spot for the Suns, but weird slate, man. This is gonna be a tough Tuesday for sure. But Malcolm Brogdon, I'm gonna take a little SGP for my final one in a game that has a 245.5 total. Good Lord. That is a lot of points with the Bulls and the Wizards. Unsurprisingly, two of the worst defenses in the league, and two of the fastest teams in the league as well, with both in the top 4 pace. Chicago just blindly sprinting up and down the court, and they don't even have Lonzo Ball out there, which is wild to think about. But I like dimes, and I like a little bit of points. I took Brogdon 4+ dimes. I took him 10+ points as well. And I took Koulibaly 2+ assists. And this is something I wanted to take advantage of when I was watching some of the last Wizards game without Jordan Poole. And I was like, wow, Bilal Koulibaly is like got the ball in his hands a ton. And then you look up the touches, and yeah, he actually was second in the team on touches in that last game without Jordan Poole. And since Malcolm Brogdon's been back, he's been in the top 3 in terms of touches in the front court, potential assists as well. Not potential assists, but passes made rather for Koulibaly and passes received. But the potentials were 10 at 10. He got 4 dimes last game without Jordan Poole. We're talking about a Chicago team that you just get them. They just bloodlet all of the assists that you want. This is not a team that knows how to switch very well at all. It does seem like there's some half-assed like trapping going on. Like they still have Caruso and Lonzo Ball, and Billy Donovan's still trying that, but Lonzo ain't out there and Caruso's in OKC, so it ain't working out very well as they just give up a ton of dimes to like every position on the floor, and they give up a ton of points to the off-ball guards. If you're the primary ball handler, your assists are way up. If you're the off-ball guard, your shooting is way up against Chicago. So I love that for him to get 10 points and 4 assists. For Brogdon, Koulibaly, add the 2 assists, plus 250. Jordan Poole is questionable. And you kind of brought up a good point. If Jordan Poole doesn't play, or if he does play, like Brogdon's still doing a lot more of the on-ball work, with Jordan Poole being a shooter that's able to sort of play off-ball a lot more right now. Malcolm Brogdon's touches were more per minute. Jordan Poole got a few more minutes in their last game together. But when Brogdon was out there, especially if you watch the tape, that was the dude who was handling the ball and orchestrating the offense for sure. So I like that for Brogdon against a team that's giving up the most assists to point guards. Like I said, like don't need to go too far into that. We know how bad Chicago's defense is and how much it gives up assists. And the points, it's really simple. I mean, if Brogdon's out there, great. If he's not, I mean, there's just so many points to go around. I'm going to be talking about a few more players in the player props video as well. So make sure you check that out. But for Koulibaly, I think it's a really sneaky good look is for him to get over 1.5 assists by itself if you want it. But the 2 added to a parlay is really nice here. So, I mean, look, I'll just briefly go through the list of players who have gotten theirs recently against the Bulls in terms of assists. We're talking about Scottie Pippen Jr., Trae Young, Dame Lillard, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. Those are the last 5 guards. Obviously, 2 of those on one team. All of them got at least 5 assists, obviously double digits for most of them. And then you look at the guys who haven't. It's just the Rockets. The Rockets have the worst assist percentage in the league. This is the only team that's played the Bulls in the last 10 games that didn't have at least one guard go over their assist prop. So, like, do with that what you will. But like I said, Houston ain't passing. It's just Jalen Green, your turn, my turn, with Fred VanVleet, Şengün, and even Jabari Smith on the starting lineup. So, yeah, I'm not worried about them not getting the dimes. Everybody else does it. I love this play here for Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on Koulibaly. As a highlight in player props, he has 3+ assists in 6 of his last 8. The exceptions being, very tough defenses, including Houston. where he had 0. So, I mean, I think there is some volatility there with a low number, with a low assist number. I think you're letting the Wizards defense off the hook here by not including any Bulls in this
No,
parlay.
they're in player props, Nate. They're in the player props episode. Don't worry.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I just punched in Zach LaVine 20 points instead of Koulibaly. It's plus 150-ish, 140-ish instead of this huge number. But I mean, Zach LaVine's been going off against some pretty good defenses. And yeah, this ain't that. So I think you can mix in some Bulls props here and expect a fun up and down game here if you like fun zero defense games.
Yeah. No, we all decided we love offense a while ago, so I'm with it. But that's all the time we have for you in Best Bets. Make sure you are subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along. Check everything out we're bringing you this week. Got player props up. Got NFL player props up as well for Thanksgiving that we're bringing you here in the next couple of days. So until we see you next, happy betting.